Hey guys, it's Dawn and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Well, it's that time of the month. February is coming to a close, which means that I need to introduce the self-care challenge for March. If you don't know already, Rebeccah Rodriguez and I wanted to focus on self-care in 2020, so we created a challenge for each month of the year for writing-related self-care. In January, we changed up our writing routine. In February, we organized our writing space, whatever thing we felt like we needed to organize. And in March, the challenge is to revisit past feedback. Revisiting past writing feedback, especially positive writing feedback, is super useful when you feel like you're in a rut or feel like you're hitting a wall or just are not confident in your writing abilities. Going back to those times when people gave you positive feedback, gave you specific things they really liked about your writing can help you kind of get over those bumps along the road of your writing journey. So in March, we're kind of challenging you guys to look back at maybe things you've gotten back from a critique partner, maybe a teacher, a friend, whatever, and reread that and kind of remind yourself in the ways that you're talented as a writer. Remember, every writer is different from one to another. So, something that Stephen King is super good at isn't a requirement for all writers, for example, or J.K. Rowling or whatever. Like, you're going to have things that are specifically great about your writing, and you should be super proud of those. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't work on other things, but I think it's healthy to take the time and appreciate the things that are talents and that do stand out in your writing. Before I get into what I'm going to be doing this month, I do want to explain that if for some reason you don't have anything to look back on, maybe you haven't taken any courses where you had feedback provided, or you've never had a critique partner, maybe you've been very shy about sharing your writing, that is okay. Use both the comment section in my video and in Rebeccah's video to either ask one of us for help. We can read a chapter and give you some positive feedback, or you can ask the fellow commenters for help, or if you're someone who would be happy to give feedback to other people, sound off in the comments, let them know so that they can reach out to you, because AuthorTube is really great because it's a community that connects us all as writers, so take advantage of that and really, look for people who can give you feedback. And I will say it is okay to establish what sort of feedback you want. Sometimes you're ready for just in-depth, nitty-gritty, tell me what's wrong, what's right, whatever. And other times you're like, hey, can you pull out, 3 positive things to say about this? And, leave off the negatives for now. And that's totally okay. It depends on what you need as far as building yourself as a writer at that point. Once again, don't be afraid to reach out to me or Rebeccah. We are more than happy to help you out with feedback. Just understand that, we have critique partners and other stuff we're working on, so it won't be like an overnight thing that we can give you your feedback back to you. So just be patient, but we are more than happy to help. All right, now let's talk about what I'm going to be doing this month. So I have a variety of stuff I can go look back on. The one thing I'm kicking myself on is I actually took 2 creative writing courses back in high school. I actually did concurrent enrollment, so I was taking college classes at the local community college while I was in high school. So I had the opportunity to take 2 super amazing, super helpful creative writing classes online. However, silly me did not think to save like the comments that were put on the forum or the comments that were submitted by the teacher, because they weren't like added to the document that you submit. They were just sort of on the, student portal or whatever. And I neglected to save any of that. I think I found one thing where it did have some comments on there. So I've got that. And I think I already reread that when I was organizing my stuff this past month in February. So I probably won't go back to that, but I am kind of sad that, past Dawn didn't have a little more foresight. But luckily, besides that, I do have some other things I can look back on. I think the oldest piece of feedback I have, just looking back, is from my grandfather. I was in high school. I wrote a very, very short story, I think maybe 4 or 5 pages long, double space typed. And I was really proud of it. My mom read it, really liked it, but she told me that. She didn't like write notes, and she said I should send it to my grandpa. If you don't know, I think I've mentioned like once, so you probably don't know. My grandpa is a writer. He is super talented, although he still steers more closer to the literary side of things. So, not really my cup of tea, but I have read some of his stuff and he's quite talented. So, I was very nervous to send anything to him. Plus, he is the most sarcastic human being that has ever walked the face of the earth. Like, he cannot say a single sentence that doesn't have some level of sarcasm in it. That's just his personality. So, yeah, I was a little nervous to send him this short story, but I did. And he sent me back a compliment, and it was hilarious to me because even with this compliment, there was like an underhanded insult in it. I forget how he worded it. If I can find it, I'll share it with you guys in my wrap up for March, but it was something to the effect that, wow, this is really good for someone of your like intelligence level. Like basically saying like, this is great for a dumb person. That's my grandfather. So if I'm ever like sarcastic in videos, like, you know why. That's like part of my family's culture. But yeah, so that's the earliest like written piece of feedback I can remember. And then after that, I did have those 2 creative writing classes that I enjoyed a lot. But like I said, I don't really have anything to go look back on that I haven't already. And then the next thing I have is actually the first draft of the network, which I wrote that for, I wrote the first part of it, the first 50,000 words for NaNoWriMo in 2018. And I wrote it in a Google Doc, and I actually shared it with a good friend of mine that lives here locally. And so she was reading it as I was writing it. And so even as I was drafting this, super, super rough draft novel during NaNoWriMo, I was getting little notifications that she was putting comments in there. And a lot of it was like she was helping me correct typos and stuff, which was nice, obviously, for later now that I'm revising. But a lot of times she would leave a comment, something as simple as, I love this sentence. I love this paragraph. This makes me feel this way, and it's awesome, and my first draft Google document is just full of comments like that. And I haven't read them in a really long time. And since I am working on the revisions for the network and feeling kind of not great, it's not that I don't think it's good. It's just that I'm very tired and it's very hard work. So I think it'll be nice to look back, read some of those comments, and just feel good about, the piece of writing that I'm creating. Besides that, I do have 2 amazing critique partners, Evie Redding and Rebeccah Rodriguez, who obviously I've already mentioned her because we created these challenges together. But I do have comments from them for the first, I think, 5 chapters of the second draft so far. So I'm going to go back and reread those. They've both been super, super helpful and, given helpful critiques and advice, but their positive comments as well have been just amazing. And I think it'll be nice to hear, especially since that is the current draft that I'm working on. So it'll help to feel like I'm going in the right direction. But yeah, those are all the things I'm going to be looking back on to kind of motivate myself and remind myself that I am a good writer. Yeah, I'm not perfect. I've got a lot of things I can work on, but there are some things I'm really good at. Like, I definitely feel like I have a pretty good grasp of building tension. I'm pretty good at that. I can make a tense scene and make readers kind of go, like freak out a little bit. And I'm proud that I have that skill. I also think not for all of my characters, but for some of my characters, I have very, very strong, believable characterizations, and they're very easy to imagine as real, people you could meet on the street or, somewhere in real life, wherever. So I'm proud of that. And so I'm really excited to look back and remind myself about those things that I'm good at and what other people have validated and said, yeah, you are good at that. It's not just in your head. It's not just that you're like, whoop-de-doo, good job me. It's like, yeah, other people agree and think that I'm good at these things. So hopefully for you, as you're going through March and kind of looking back at this old feedback, or hopefully getting new feedback if you don't have any, I hope that you're able to see both things that, you felt like you were good at and it's validating and confirms to you that you have a good perception of your writing, but also hopefully things that you weren't aware of that you're good at. And that will be an extra boost of, motivation and encouragement as you go forward. That is everything I want to say about March's self care challenge. I hope so far you guys have been enjoying the challenges. Remember, if you've come in late and this is the first time you're hearing about these challenges, you can totally go back and redo them. You don't have to do them in any particular order. You don't have to do March's challenge right now if you don't want to. These are just some good ideas for people to use to kind of strengthen their writing, strengthen their resilience, and just treat themselves better as creative people. With that, I want to say thank you so much for watching this video, taking time out of your day to support me. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, if you want to ask for feedback or, you know, offer feedback to someone else, just leave that down in the comments and that would be super, super awesome. Anyway, I hope you guys have an amazing week. And as always, happy writing. Bye.